Graphing parabolas. We've previously identified that quadratic functions can be written in different forms. The table below summarizes the pros and cons of each of these forms. Much of the learning of the first half of the unit will be basically manipulating one form into another form. So let's talk about the different types of forms and what form would you ideally like your quadratic function to be? Well, this is the general form. The general form, it's really good if you want the y-intercept, because the y-intercept, remember, is found when you let x is equal to 0. And in the general form, that is just at c. Also, another pro, it's easy to identify if the graph is upward or downward opening. You just look at the coefficient a. It tells you if your function is upward or downward opening. Now, recall that the most important point on a parabola is the vertex. So you don't have the vertex, you just have the y-intercept. And you only have it if it opens upwards or downwards. So what are some drawbacks of the general form? It is difficult to graph. It's difficult to get the vertex. It's difficult to identify, in algebraic form anyways, the vertex, range, axis of symmetry, x-intercepts, or zeros. So there's a lot of drawbacks here to having something in general form. Even though general form is probably the most common form that you'll see it. Let's talk about the vertex form now. The vertex form, as we see, y is equal to a, open brackets, x minus h squared, close brackets, plus k, where h and k are the vertex. The pros of this, or the advantages, easy to graph. It's easy to also identify in algebraic form the range and the axis of symmetry. You can also get the direction of opening from A. What are some drawbacks of the vertex form? X-intercepts are zeros. And in fact, it'll be the second half of this unit that we'll be talking about these. X-intercepts are the zeros. Let's go on to our third form, the factored form. The factored form, when you're given a quadratic in factored form, it is easy to find the x-intercepts, and it just takes a little bit of work and knowledge to find the axis of symmetry. Actually, it takes a lot of knowledge to find the axis of symmetry, but once you know it, you know it. It is difficult to identify the vertex, graph, and difficult to find the range. So really, I think the winner is going to be vertex form. Wouldn't it be nice if all of our parabolas were given in vertex form if we're trying to graph or almost faced any question in quadratics? That's where we're going to be focusing.